Hi, hello, and welcome to the Daily Tarot Buffet brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene, Priestess of Love Seed. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the transiting moon into Gemini. It's already happened. The date will be in the title, GMT. Excuse me, Central African time, Central European time, same difference. Now, if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. It's a delight and an honor to serve you. Thank you for allowing us the pleasure and the privilege to do so. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. You belong to Welcome Home. If anything resonates deeply with you, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a consult, send a donation. The transiting moon through, I was sent to deliberate the findings for the transiting moon through Gemini. It's a ninth house event. During Libra season, when there is an energy transiting through the sign of Gemini, it's a ninth house event. So this specific event is a lunar event. So there's going to be increased insight, intuition into the areas of the ninth house. It's the intellect, reasoning, communication, the craft, the skill, the acumen that we choose for ourselves. It's typically higher minded, higher level. It might have to be recognized in society, and it translates into higher law, higher learning, higher education, even long distance travel, which is literal and figurative. Traveling long distance or becoming lofty in the mind. Discovering and researching and eventually publishing ideas or becoming faithful in something. Okay. It also happens to be a little bit dharmic. We do have an uplifting here once we begin to acclimate, accentuate these energies in our lives, the ninth house. And it can talk a little tiny bit about the father or the attribute upon which we wish to aspire. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. That's what's coming through. Again, if anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. I'm hearing this word, kamisama. There's something here about being a friend of God. Now, this is the ninth house. Okay, suke now. This is very much the ninth house. Okay, so we're in channel. I just want to say a quick prayer for all those still lost out there. To illusion, delusion, confusion, lostness is a time trapped somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the spirit and grace of the divine, unconditional, loving, universal oneness, unapon, great spirit. We love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We ask that our steps be ordered. We ask that our path be illuminated. We ask that we find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we all be happy. May we be whole. May we be at peace. May we receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. I'm going to go ahead and cast the descending energy. Eight of Cups is a clarifier with the Ten of Cups. So there is something about moving into the soul group, the enlightened, exalted ones upon the earth that might look like some type of fulfillment ongoing. It can be the happily ever after, the eternal kingdom as well. Okay, we have the mirroring energy here. It seems like we've tapped into this exaltation. We might have glory upon us, meaning we're going through the thing, we're doing the thing. We are addressing the matter upon which we would become exalted, stratified, and there may be some recognition by the divine Six of Wands, six receiving Wands glory. Now we're in this energy. I'm hearing that. Can you keep up, baby boy? Let me lose my breath, or make me lose my breath, or whatever. Lyrics escape me. I'm not too English in terms of my taste and enjoyment. So We're a friend of God. Can you keep up the ninth house? Something about lofty exaltation makes sense. So that's what I'm getting thus far. So let's move in here, get in here, fit in here, and see what we got going on. So the Tower with the Hermit card, and we're in Gemini, Gemelli. Okay, okay. So we're about halfway down. So this is going to be a longer daily terrible fate. We will be imposing the guidance on the Thoth Tarot, Aleister Crowley, Lady Frida Harris illustration, published by US Game System. In addition, we shall deliberate the findings from Cosmic Coven Tarot. That's by Lisa Lazenby over at Ripe Avocado, where we will be clarifying any type of pairing or matching energy. Lastly, Vita Sibilla Daily Oracle by Los Scarabeo, deliberating those findings through that deck, and that will be used to clarify any type of correlative or corresponding energy. There may, in fact, indeed be additional decks used to clarify, my darling. However, those will be illuminated, elucidated, and enumerated at such a time and endeavor where that is called and deemed appropriate. Let us begin. I'm going to go over some general energies. That's where we're at. That's what this is. And then as each additional card comes out, it'll talk about the shifts and changes in terms of the cycle progressing, whether it's applying or disseminating for the students out there, that'll be seen. So we already have a pairing here. It's a pair of eights. One of them came with a correlative as well. Okay, so I'm getting a lot. Let's just tune in here, plug in here, see where we fit, see what we got going on, because it's coming through, coming through. First of all, when we have the Tower and the Hermit, it means teaching about divine power. And, you know, whatever energy is mirroring us during this cycle, and what is it, Gemini, the mirror energy is Sagittarius, which is the ruler of the ninth house, or the depository domicile of the ninth house. In addition, it is also sextile to the season that we're in, which is Libra. So what I'm gathering thus far, and I would like evidence to support this hypothesis, is that there's a lack of caring, and it's not an abandonment, it's not a flippant, flagrant, frivolous rebellion. There's some refinement to how we care. If an energy, entity, ideology in the environment around a location, people, places, and things, if they are to disclose, to share their opinions about us with the intention of us caring what they have to say. Firstly, their opinion shall be credible or should be marked, notated, annotated as such an endeavor, an opinion, however unsolicited, indeed. Now, in addition, I'm getting some excited and spontaneous utterances, remarks. There's been this dispiacere, this displeasure, disappointment, also some rudeness, some meanness. I'm hearing the word catty. And we're looking at this hermit with the Eight of Pentacles. So there's divine power, it's eternal. It's the part of us that's tuned into, tapped into the divine, the all that is, the collective, the supra, the supernal. Eh, we do have some type of divine power at work. It can be somebody also could just have their sun in Virgo, sun in the sixth house. So, which means that their power, their gift might be counter, might be adversarial to how we go about things, how we do things. Or that the source of their energy may be in the place of our dissolution as a collective. So there's going to be some insight into opposing adversarial factions, energies, forces, even. Some things are stuck. Whatever's been nurtured, whatever's been allowed to grow in the background, really, I'm going to say without an intention, has been counterproductive up until these recent days. Until we arrived at the recent past, the distant past, I mean those words precisely, intentionally. Until we arrived at the recent past or the distant past, there was a lack of intention, meaning a lack of knowing. There may have been some desire to attend to things, some desire to assist, but it was coming from an uninformed place. And these are the people in our lives, the ones who wish to support us. Most of them do authentically, but it's akin to taking medical advice from a mechanic. We don't take advice from people that have never ventured out the house, especially on where to travel. You know, we don't really respect opinions, especially unsolicited ones from people we don't admire. And they may mean very well, but they're judging us or they're guiding us on how to go, how to navigate and negotiate as to how they would do without a deep reflection to what our intentions are, what our values are. We, there hasn't been enough curiosity, investigation, examination as to what our mission and objective is. So they're imposing upon us. They're speaking at us, about us, around us, not to us, not with us. It's essentially how it's going to equate. Yes, there may be circumstances and situations, but if we were to distill it down to its base and core principles, that in fact it would be how it is and what it is, plainly. So we're learning really about our own personal power, and it's coming through revelation. There may be some dismantling here, disruptions. Because what's coming through is going to really help us, it's going to shake other things up. And I don't know why there's a calling to share this, but mindful advice, deceit, contempt, that's a no-fly zone. Once that's been established, the path forward is not together, it's apart. Okay. So in addition, somebody that gets up and leaves during the dress rehearsal, somebody that leaves while there's a struggle, they don't get to come back when there's thriving. If somebody leaves during the dress rehearsal, they don't get to come back and sit in the front row during the opening show, or especially regain the cast of the ensemble. Hang out in the periphery, hang out in the back, hang out on the sidelines, but you don't get to step front and center. You don't get to join the party if you left during the planning. It's abandonment. And let's get biblical for a second. It's allegorical as well, so hear what you want to hear. There's a reason why the devil no longer sits right next to the divine. If forgiveness was the only thing, the devil would have rejoined the ranks of heaven. Lucifer would not still be fallen and chained to the pit, sealed into the pit. Now, said differently, there is still rulership in Lucifer's domain. but they're the regent of the lake of fire, not the choir of heaven. Let it be known. It is as such. Moving on. When there's a pair of eights in a reading, it can mean a few things, usually rumination. It can be manipulation. It definitely is time and indulgences, might quite possibly some type of spell work, whether it's from a practitioner or something unhealed. There's been weaving of intention, whether awakened or unawakened. We have the King of Cups clarifying, firstly, this to pair of eights. So that would tell me that there's some type of unconditional love here. It's called compassion. In this case, again, on the precipice is tolerance. People do what they do, they behave how they behave, they are who they are, they do what they do. Players gonna play, haters gonna hate. The devil's gonna do what the devil's gonna do. Here's the situation. It is as such. It doesn't mean we need to tolerate, even if we accept. A zebra has their stripes. We might choose not to go on safari. There's nothing wrong with the zebra possessing stripes. Okay, so what is coming forward? What is shifting from the peripheral to the forefront is some type of cancellation. It may be an enlightenment. If there was an enlightenment, this is a breakthrough coming after a breakdown because there's been some type of revelation. And the revelation is not just that we're on the path to some type of practical skill, not just that we've been prepared for some type of material blessing, not just that inherent, endowed upon and within our flesh is this glory, but we've been the genuine, sincere, authentic article this whole time. And what may seem to us, or excuse me, pardon, what may seem to others like, I'm hearing flim and flamsy, fancy, flippant, frivolous, what may seem to us like fantastical imagination, what might seem to others like fantastical imagination, to us is really our dream. And since we're pursuing our passion, we're actually pursuing our authentic self. And, you know, when passion doesn't match in acumen, skillfulness, it's really just a hobby. You may be passionate about dogs, but you might not go out and become a vet or a dog whisperer. You see what I'm saying? Passion has to meet skills, or it's just a hobby. But for us, it's we've turned it into something. I'm getting this energy of us being an environment surrounding a location where energies, entities, ideologies do not understand, barely even support what we got going on, what we're about. There's too much oppositional energy here. Yeah, they'll turn around one day when we make something of it, but that's just the thing. We shouldn't have to have third parties, external entities confirming our value. You know, media, academia, accreditation, referrals. These are the external forces in the new millennium that give a person prominence, especially from their support, their peers. So we're inhabiting the wrong group. This has gone somewhere. I, I'm cleaning up my language as much as possible, but we're in the spot. All these people with something to say, they ain't got no nothing to talk about. That's just what that is. Yeah, so our group is, because we're chosen, we're highly blessed, favorite, chosen, and anointed. We've made it in some way. We have contentment and fulfillment, Nine of Cups. It might not look like that to the people around us, surrounding us, but they might not have eyes to see, is what I'm hearing. Life attracts life, real recognizes real. These people, these energies, are not particularly credible in their opinion, even if they're well meaning. And we spent a significant portion of time setting up this reading. So that's where we were at. Let's move on and go quickly. Because we're getting contentment here. It's just that we have to leave some things behind. We have to withdraw Eight of Cups. And this is a revelation. It might even bring a shake-up tower, is what's this Eight of Cups, Ten of Cups is clarifying. So we're moving on to the promised land. Ten of Cups is the eternal kingdom. Paradiso. Contentment here upon the earth. And these other people, they're standing on their laurels, Six of Wands. However and whatever they've accomplished, the little results they have, the little receipts they can show, Eight of Pentacles. That's good for you, boo. You know, peace be upon you, blessings to your healing and awakening. I like that for you. Live your life. Step out of the way of mine while I go get mine. I don't know why you're sitting here imposing and projecting your value on me. I have to go and seek out my own. So now we have the Magician and the Star card. The Magician is clarified by the Six of Swords and the Queen of Swords. So that's the queens are needing. And the six here is about being gift. We're being given grace. So we can move on, move forward. It is going to toughen our heart up a little bit. It's going to close our heart up just a little bit. With the Queen of Swords, it's this unpopular position. But with the Queen of Swords, we were once the Queen of Cups and we were made to cry. At the very, very least, we have to go through some severe austerity. Somebody here is a Aquarius moon or Aquarius in the moon in the 11th house, which means there's insight and intuition into the collective, something that is out of this world. Others will not possess such a trait or characteristic. And there's been a lot of groundwork laid already towards the calling in our life. Star card is the calling in our life. It's also bigger, brighter, and better. It's faith, hope, and optimism. It's our soul's ambition. Seven of Pentacles means that it's the proverbial, sowing before later on we reap. It's the proverbial investment before later on we yield. It's the proverbial planting before later on we harvest. So the Seven of Pentacles, we've already planted, sowed the seeds of what's going to be eventually our Six of Swords, moving on, moving through to calmer waters, to better times. And it was intentional. It wasn't by accident. Queen of Swords is here. It wasn't accidental. We had the knowledge, we had the truth, we had the language based, the knowledge structure. It was an informed decision. Actually, we're moving out of our acumen. So it's how we've cultivated and curated our own being, our own nature. Okay. Something else is looking for what's discernible. There are industries where you will work and you'll look like, mere obscurity, and then one day it'll look like an overnight success, but actually in reality it took 10 years in the making. Science is like that, especially with research. Even media is like that. Perhaps like entertainment, people will be mere obscurity, not knowing their name, and then one day a little single comes out, a little research finding comes out, and then their name is a household name in the blink of an eye over the course of a week. Complete proliferation. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm sensing here. We have some correspondence. Fanciulla. Yeah. So again, doesn't mean that we're lacking acumen. Giovanni Fanciulla. There may even be something virginal here, meaning we're not unto the natural institution. We might not. A man might not be a plan. For instance, arbitrary example. I use that to dramatize an idea. and I leave you with this. We might not need to do the normal job route. We might not go the normal thing that everybody else is doing. We might not be unto the system, the structure, the status quo as everyone else is. The opposing energy here is, um, um, I was going to say melancholia, but this is amalata, malady, sickness. They're stuck. It's not just nerve wrenching, but it brings sickness and illness to them. And we're in this bambino energy here. So actually, for us, there's a joy and there's so much more for us to work with. It's the beginning, it's the very seed stage. So that's interesting because I'm gaining that this is a situation where we're talked about, or institutions or groups or society would talk about if it came across their view, if it came into focus. There might even be some intention to gatekeep, and we're looking beyond that. We're not focusing on that. We're not paying attention to that. There is some type of argument or verbal conflict. The tower and the magician, that can be an inciting incident quite quickly. However, there's a wisdom inherent in us. Hermit with the star card, something alive in us is divine and it's driving us forward. Now, this has been happening over the last week. There's been something in the seed stage or something got planted about a week ago that's really going to grow into the promise of material abundance. We've actually been gifted the thing that we want by the divine, but it's in the seed stage. We might not have, language, race, knowledge, structure. We might not have words to speak it, eyes to see it. I'm going to say this before we move on. I say this often, and I'm going to say it as a former, yeah. So, Roberta Marconi, we have now the Marconi Awards. It's an industry, especially in the US, it employs 300,000 people. They have annual awards for the radio industry. When Roberta Marconi first said to his support circle, oh, look, I have a way to send messages through the air without the aid of wires, they had him institutionalized. Twice. They literally declared him mentally handicapped. And if that had stopped him, we wouldn't have the radio industry, we wouldn't have cell phone, we wouldn't have all these inventions that we have today. So that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like, not just that there's going to be arguments, but people with a very baseline understanding might cause a lot of problems. Peacocking, la superbia, it's ego. And people are going to say things. And it's going to be, they mean very well, except they're not going to do well at all. However, that's going to manifest, and it can destroy some types of connections that I don't necessarily mean that it's going to kill the relationship, but it will shift around and change around our rapport, the trust, the connection. We won't necessarily be able to get vulnerable with these people. Melancholia, I'm saying it now. We're surrounded by a bunch of egos. Now, somebody here has Mercury in the 11th house in Aquarius. It's confirmed. Not only do we have the star card, but we have the magician and we have the six of swords. Period, point blank, somebody has Mercury in Aquarius or in the 11th house. So again, not only do we have insight and intuition, but we have intellect, reasoning, and communication, some type of craft, skill, acumen that's out of this world. 11th house is the heaven door. It's the future. It's something that's otherworldly. So people gonna say what they're gonna say, people gonna do what they're gonna do, but they're acting very now, very past, very fear. We have some type of discovery that's a transmission, a download, and it could be proven, but maybe not according to methods yet. And see, I want to say those are trying to support us. They don't know what to do. They're stuck, and if they're unhealed, they may impose, they may police in some kind of way through the institutions that are falling. Yeah, there's going to be a breakdown in communication. Morte el bachillerato. There's gonna, and it's the right thing to do. It's because actually we're too precious. This combination here, we're too precious. We need to not be around such individuals right now because there's some alignment coming. And the calling in our life is so great, so grand. And I'm not saying we all that and then some, but there's something here where whatever we're doing, however we're doing, whatever we're going about, however we're getting it down, it actually is part of the grand plan, part of the grand design. So it's part of the great orchestration, the grand design, the great plan. So we can't actually be interrupted, interfered with. And there will be some harsh here. Something is going to die. Let us hope, let us hope, let us hope again. Let us hope that it's just a relationship that dies because there's something here. There will be third party interference. I don't understand what I'm picking up here, but we have the Three of Swords with the Ten of Swords. Three of Swords is suspending, Ten of Swords is canceling, and it's coming with the Death card. So, excuse me, I'm gonna say this. So please, my dear, conduct this according to your own value judgment and discernment criteria. However, I will thoroughly advise that you intervene before intervention happens from external parties. And I mean it in multiple ways: spiritual, physical, mental, financial, emotional, body, mind, soul, spirit. Okay. Let me just tell you, if somebody doesn't try to institutionalize, they're going to try to intervene in some way. And some kind of divine eye, a watcher, we already had the tower come out. It was the first card out. A watcher, or the first major arcana out. The watcher may intervene in other ways. Divine intervention might be severe and permanent. We have the Ten of Swords with the Death card. That could mean that a body drops. I'm not seeing a clash, like a conflict, a physical conflict, but I am seeing a soul depart. And the way it looks is that if we're not able to put a boundary, the universe will put one for us and it will be permanent and irrevocable. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's better that we put boundaries now. Hey, you know what? This isn't working for me. I'm going to take some space. You want to know how you can help? You can give me some distance. You know how you can help? You cannot show up without announcing yourself. You cannot call me after 9 p.m. You cannot push yourself through or upon me. However that works for you. If you're not somebody that is, if we're not somebody that is direct and firm in our standards and boundaries, how we impose our boundaries and get our needs met, it may have to be passive power, putting the phone on do not disturb, leaving it off or on silent most of the day, limiting communications to 20 minutes, not having anybody over. Other ones are not sharing what we got going on, not talking about our plans, putting people on restricted mode, on block, whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. Personally, I'm a big fan of being direct. As a Saturnian priestess, a Sakvatasius, a child of Sekhmet, I don't mind taking an unpopular position, having an unfavorable conversation, being in an unfortunate unpleasant conversation, I don't mind standing on business. That's not a universal. It's not even common. You hear what I'm saying? We have the death and the judgment card. That actually means it's pretty strict, it's pretty severe. We have some egotistical here. I'm hearing that Beyonce song, but it's moderated, not I can see your halo, I can see your halo. I'm hearing I can see your ego, and it's the whole crescendo. Yeah, your ego. Ooh. Yeah, because we got it all set in place. We have everything set up and done. Mercante denari. We're looking at the heart of the matter. We have our P's and Q's about it, our I's dotted, our T's crossed. We have the acumen, the skill base, the knowledge structure. We need some time, but there's this energy on the other side across the horizon, planning, percolating, matriculating, peacocking, popping up at the mouth, marinating in venom, cursing under their breath. That's going to get them caught up in the cosmic shredding machine in some kind of divine sweep. When the galactic trash man comes through, pulls through, that's not going to look well for them. And there's going to be a point of no return. And sometimes the best thing we could do is to stop talking to a person, not allowing them to hurt our feelings, not allowing them to interfere, interrupt, intervene, intercede, because if they do, they might catch a charge, a cosmic charge, a galactic spiritual charge. I'm really just going to say that one more time. You do not want to see the Three of Swords with the Justice card. It gets taken out of your hands. Okay. Again, you do not want to see the Death card with the Ten of Swords. Irrevocable, irreversible. You do not want to see the Justice card with the Death card. It's severe and strict. Now, again, this is going to be some type of vectoring here. Now, it's the energy is approaching. It hasn't been triggered, this vector. But this is a vector where the divine comes through because nature abhors a vacuum and things must balance. This is not no little earthly checkbook. This is a divine treasury, a cosmic checkbook. It will reconcile. That's non-negotiable. So we're really barreling off a cliff here because I do want to also just say when the Three of Swords comes out, it's a suspension. When the Ten of Swords comes out, it's a cancellation. Something here I would warn, I would thoroughly advise, I would highly advise. You know what I'm saying? It's already started too. Two of Wands in this position over here means it's already started. It's already happened. The road's already been entered. Something here is up to no good. Domestico, it's returning. Emeneo, suddenly, it's going to be a sudden shift. Things people are, they're coming out of a place of love, but see, here's what it is. They're adversarial to us. It's not something that's going to help. This is a basal energy. If we engage with this energy, we're going to go down, not up. By its very nature, demonic doesn't even always mean something's evil. Doesn't always mean something sinister, something's wicked. Doesn't always mean it's, Satanist wanting to destroy the mother or Luciferian wanting to destroy the father, meaning deplete our self-worth and value or deplete our sustenance. It could just mean that dealing with the energy, the definition of demonic means a one-track mind, and that intelligence is lower than our intelligence. So it means to deal with the energy frequency vibration is a vibration that's lower than us, not higher, lower as in better than less than, but proximate location. In order to engage successfully with this energy, we will need to spiral down, not spiral up, period, point blank. That's what I'm getting, and it's been clarified in a few different ways. It's because we have this innocence, this order. We're under divine protection here with the cherubim. Amore, something is just starting. And beings that are at the pinnacle of their incarnational existence are assigned to this. They're not living out any one particular timeline less than, lower than. They're in the consolidated universal timeline, the absolute reality. I don't mean to wag my finger. But these beings you do not mess with. They're the ones that Archangel Michael commands. I would advise step away from that endeavor. Some people need to be cut off or we're not going to have access to them in the future. Let me put it that way and move on. Something's also been going on for 3 months. And it's been planned out for the last 3 cycles. These cycles are fortnights, probably related to the moon. We just had a full moon in Aries, Ariete. That means the last full moon was in Pisces, and the moon before that would have been the Leo or Virgo new moon. So they've been at this for a while, and they're putting this discernment on it that's really faulty. Their facts aren't right, their knowledge isn't right, their technology isn't right. How they're going about it, how they're processing, how they're interpreting, it's not right. But they're putting some type of energy into it behind their tongues or wagging or whatever that's really going to get them caught up because we're not fitting into society. We're not making sense. But instead of saying, hey, help me understand your intention, please define your objective. Help me understand. Help me feel better. Help me feel comfortable with what it is, how it is, what you got going on, how you're getting down, how you're getting around, how you're coming through, pulling through, how you're standing on business. It don't make sense to me. Please explain. Explícame. Por favor, explícame. They're not doing it like that. They're saying, tis, 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 shame, shame, shame. Let me compassion bait you. Let me concern troll you. Let me individuality shame you. Let me virtue signal you. Let me tone police you. Respectability politics. So that means there's a disrespect. I'm wagging my finger again. That means that there's disrespect. I'm just going to say they're entering in. Yeah. There are people that have power in a situation that are going to impose incorrectly and that the consequences more than they can afford. I don't want to spend any more time on this. Yeah, so we've got this birth coming. We're going to change. However, we're endowed universally, it's going to increase. We're going through a change, and it's saying a change in the mother. We're actually dealing with satanic energy. So I know that's a scary word, and it oftentimes should be. However, at its root, at its very root, it means a disrespect of the mother of Matcha, basically. The area that we're pulling from and enriching ourselves from, there's some hostility around it. They could disrespect how we cultivate our life. They can disrespect what we do for a living. They might not like who we are in terms of personality, energy, frequency, vibration. They might look around us and see the life that we've created in response to our network or our net worth, the people around us, our support system, or our resources and how we derive sustenance from those, and thinking like that it's wrong or it's not where it should be, and they might impose some type of intervention, intervention, interruption, interference upon it, and it's going to trigger something galactically. They're going to get dusted off the shelf. They're going to get put through the shredder, and they're not going to come out well on the other side. And we're going to be the last to know. It's happening right in front of us, but since we're so loving, caring, generous, and kind, since we're so hoping and wishing and praying and faithful, since we're so enmeshed in whatever it is that we're creating, because that's the calling in our life, that's the divine mission we signed up for. And see, what's not seen to us or to them is that we're creating something here. We're getting made anew. This could mean a new mother, new creativity, nurturing, new gestation, conception, new blessings, favor, anointing, new exaltation. Something here is new, a new beginning. Yet there's been this old policing here, Knight of Pentacles with the Four of Wands. Whatever we kind of came up out of, wherever we're seen, there's energies around it that want to keep that the same. And oftentimes when there's people around us that are balking or are rattling in their boots about how we're shifting and changing, it's because We're killing the person that we used to be. There's something in us about us that they're used to, and that's no longer the case. It's no longer present. It's no longer here. It's no longer accessible. So about 2 weeks from now, we're gonna feel interfered with because something or someone is gonna come through trying to give us medicine that we don't need. We're not actually sick. We don't need the help they're trying to impose on us. Because now we have the devil and the emperor. So the devil and the emperor means a tyrant. So somebody that's trying to control, somebody that's trying to punish, somebody that's trying to teach us a lesson, oftentimes for no reason. And we have a double queen here, usually means a conflict. There's jealousy, envy, the need to make something other than what it is. Because somebody's probably wanting to be bigger, brighter, and better. They need affection, adoration, appreciation, acknowledgement, attention. They may be servile, basic, ordinary, dull, plain. There may be a Capricorn moon, which means their purpose in the world, Capricorn moon, is to teach karmic lessons to people. Usually this through going through some type of cycle. It's not never intentional here. But something is gonna try to make it intentional here. I see. Their moon could also be in the 10th house, which would mean they have some insight or intuition or authority over us. There's some loving connection. It's not romantic. And they're going to try to help us in some kind of way that's going to hurt them, not us. Because they didn't have the prerequisite curiosity, investigation, examination. They weren't open and curious to understanding enough. They were judgmental secretly. Maybe they didn't even know they were being judgmental. But the thing is, we keep getting this authentic, genuine article on the right path. And what they're getting is some kind of, listen, tables gonna turn. This energy you're putting out there in the universe is gonna come back on you. And that's just what it is, how it is, and it was how it's supposed to be. Something in the divine said, I told you so. I knew this would happen too. There's some self-interest here. We seem like we're selfish to this other side. If it's a person, great. It's the collective. It's not in the one individual, but somebody out of the collective that has a personal connection with us. It's going to come out of the everybody into the you and me, and impose some type of. And it's because the dark or the malevolent forces or the fundamental darkness, whatever, it wants to, you know, impose some type of restriction on us, interference on us. Now, we may be dealing with a Capricorn moon. We may be dealing with an Aries moon. Emperor with the Queen of Wands means moon in the first house or in Aries. Devil with the Queen of Pentacles means moon in the 10th house or in Capricorn. We may also be dealing with some type of Capricorn rising. We may be dealing with some type of Libra rising. Hmm. Something is starting, but somebody is hoping what you bring. See, we're changing and we're going to leave somebody behind. And that's really what their soul is telling them, but they don't have what it takes. They're not, they lack the skills to say, hey, I don't want to get left behind. How can I support you and be involved in what you got going on? They think that they're helping us out by intervening and blocking us in some kind of way. And that's really the fundamental darkness, using them as a vessel. Yeah, because what's happening here is some kind of strip. When you have the devil and the lovers card, it means unrequited love or rejection or a bad seed among others. Something has gotten in and spoiled the bunch because something else wants us to graduate, but there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. We've created success that doesn't make sense to them, or we've become somebody that doesn't make sense to them, and we are graduating, but it looks like rejection to somebody else, rejection of what they intended for us, And the somebody else, again, I just got to say this could be the collective. It could be generational. It could be that we're not going with the status quo, that we're going against the grain. It could be that we're disrupting. We could be dealing with the Gemini sun in the Lover's card could be a sun in Gemini or Gemini rising, which would make it sun in a Virgo rising. Sun with the Lover's card could mean a sun in Gemini or Gemini midheaven. If there is a Gemini midheaven, that would make the rising Virgo. So we need to contain a situation, Four of Swords, with somebody that we're connected to. We have some type of bond. Two of Cups. It's on the same page because of a connection. Doesn't necessarily need to mean soulmate union. Although the Lover's card is here, it doesn't have to be filial, meaning romantic. It could be congenial, meaning friendly. There's a connection. This energy is going to return, come back. Knight of Wands is the returner. It's going to come with some type of ideology. Five of Pentacles, that's stripping, debilitating, declining. Five of Pentacles, it's always ideological. They may try to bind or whatever, leave us out. They themselves may feel exiled. They're actually, with the Sun card clarifying this, would try to impose some type of power on us. We need to contain the situation. Four of Swords is a containment energy. We need to contain the situation, or else. Because when they get to running their mouth, that's just what it is. It's always this, oh my gosh, poor person, look at what they're doing. They don't have control of their lives. This is probably most likely family, especially if they're related to the father. We've done the reading. I want to go more, but there's a timing thing here as well. So let's pull two. Oracle cards. We have transits, so it's the climate. There's some shifts and changes in the climate, mainly because the astrological weather, mainly because we're arriving in some kind of way to a shift in our lives, but there's confrontation at the perimeter. And these are from people that love us, beloved here. It's just because we're locked in a way that doesn't make sense. So it seems like we're going about and working on something that isn't going to go anywhere. But those are because those people that are judging, they don't have the eyes to see. They don't have ears to hear. They don't have a mind to think. All they have is woes and fears. So they're going to quabble and quibble and yell and yodel and whine and wail and harp and harangue and interfere, intercede, interrupt, interject. They're not going to do no nothing. We have to write our own story here, period, point blank, period, point blank. There's going to be some energies, entities, ideologies in the environment, trying and location that are. See, and the thing is, they think they're putting themselves out there, going out to help us. But we actually are painting the sun into our own sky, and that terrifies them. We will not be going down a path that makes sense, and that is going to put the fear of the Lord into them. So we have to weave our own crown together because we're going through some thorns right now. That means that we will be prosecuted, persecuted in some kind of way. Every storm comes to an end, though. We don't need someone else to fix us. That's just the thing. We're actually taking control of our own narrative with the library here. We're taking control of our own narrative. It's just going to be prickly. That's not really, it's a time for healing, not war. So it's fine to withdraw. There's some entities, ideologies around us that are going to try to get us to make some type of change, which is not conducive. That's the villain. We've been made wrong, made bad, made other, and it's out of fear. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to do so. If anything resonated deeply with you, go ahead and hit that like button. Take good care of yourselves. We'll see you in the next one. Until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dandava, and Ashe. Sayonara, das vidanya, avidadain. Take good care, dear. Bye-bye.